It is necessary to prepare for the mat's installation. Walls, openings, fixed objects, and joints must be identified. Once that's done, we can start planning the installation. It is not rare for people to change their mind between the quote and the actual start of the project. On a plan or for technical reasons, a wall can easily be moved by 1 foot or 3. Recheck the measures and confirm that you have the right mat. By knowing the square footage of the surface that will not be covered, you can determine in advance what will not be heated, which is usually the perimeter and the corners of the interior walls. It will sometimes be easier to install a mat in one direction rather than other. The goal is to remove as little cable as possible from the mat and have the most even coverage possible. First of all, the mat's installation should start close to the thermostat. To determine the orientation of the installation's orientation, we devise the length of the room by the width of the mat and then do the same thing with the length of the room. By multiplying the number of runs we get, we'll have at least some idea of how much cable we'll have to remove from the mat. This is not a foolproof method, but it's a good starting point. In the drawing on the left, we can see the impact of flipping the mat to the right in D1 and to the left in D2. In D1, we can continue the installation after flipping the mat 180 degrees, since we remain aligned with the starting position. However, in D2, we notice that we won't be able to flip the mat 180 degrees and remain aligned with the starting position. You will then have to flip the mat at the previous cable run, remove the loop at the upper right corner, and pull on the mat to align the run with the starting position. Let's now see a more realistic example. We have a room of 119 inches by 143 inches for a total surface of 118 square feet. The mat chosen is the TC240 P0224. It covers 112 square feet and has a length of 57 feet. The mat covers 95% of the surface. 6 square feet are not heated. We determine the orientation of the installation with these two simple calculations. 1. By dividing the width of the room by the width of the mat, which is 24 inches, and then multiplying the result by the length of the room. 2. By dividing the length of the room by the width of the mat, which is 24 inches, and then multiplying the result by the width of the room. So, the width of the room, which is 119 inches, divided by 24 inches gives us 4 complete mat runs. Multiplied by the length of the room, which is 143 inches, it gives us 47 linear feet of mat, leaving us with 10 linear feet of mat to detach. In the direction of the length of the room, which is 143 inches, divided by 24 inches gives us 5 complete mat runs. Multiplied by the width of the room, which is 119 inches, it gives us 50 linear feet of mat, leaving us with 7 linear feet of mat to detach. My first choice would be to install 5 complete mat runs. Don't forget that the length of the installation is theoretical and is only meant to guide us towards a starting point. Let's see how it looks. Let's start with the rejected solution. 4 lengths of mat and 44 linear feet of cable to remove from the mat. I started the installation at the X. You will see how I avoided doing a run longer than 10 feet at the bottom right. If I have to share my buffer zones, I will move the entire installation from top to bottom of the drawing to balance the buffer zones. If I only put a minimum amount of anchors at first, I will be able to easily move the mat towards the top, leaving me enough room to install the cable. Here's the solution that would have been my first choice. 5 lengths of mat and 28 linear feet of cable to remove from the mat. I started the installation at the bottom left where we see the X and continued the installation up until the point where I had to remove the cable from the mat to finally realize that at the end, I still had about 6 linear feet of cable to install. Again, if I only put in a minimum amount of anchors at first, I will be able to easily move the mat towards the top, leaving me enough room to install the cable. And there you go. The cable completely fits inside the room. Now what if I had to take into account the thermostat at the left top corner? I could remove the cable from the mat when starting the installation and connect it to the thermostat. In both cases, we get a coverage of 95%. Is one solution better than the other? Not always, and in this case, both are good options. The goal of these drawings is to show you different options and see that, in the end, one way or another, it is possible to correctly cover the surface, regardless of how we start the installation.